You're listening to KSCO, serving Big Sur, Felton, and Carmel Valley Village.
Opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of KSCO staff, management, or advertisers. If something is said with which you disagree, please let us know by writing to us at comments@ksco.com.
479-1080-218-5726, KSEO Dave at gmail.com. You are listening to The Mineral Way with pharmacist Ben Fuchs. Pharmacist Ben Fuchs, are you there?
I am here.
Yeah.
Good to talk to you again, David. And hello, Santa Cruz. Are you guys suffering from that cold snap?
No way.
Not at all?
Are you kidding me, Ben? Today it was warm, actually. It was a little too hot for me. It was like 75 degrees today.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's been 60 degrees here in Colorado, but everybody's freaking out about the snow and about my friend. She's in Canada, and she decided to go to Miami because it was too cold in Canada, and Miami's having like the coldest winter they've ever had, and they didn't have snow apparently.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, dude, totally.
See,
wow.
Hey, here's a quote for you.
Okay.
Tell me if you can tell what drug this woman took. Okay?
Okay.
Quote, "My colon blew up, literally blew up," said Joe Helen McLean, the Oklahoma plaintiff. "I was trying to slim down and feel healthy," unquote.
I'm going to say it was X-Lax, Ben.
No.
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 Oh, what?
Laxative.
I don't know. What?
It was those crazy GLP-1s.
I don't know what that is.
Come on.
No, I don't know what the GLP.
The GLP-1 agonists, the drugs everybody's taking, Wegovy and Ozempic. And
No. Tell me about this.
These are drugs people take to lose weight. You haven't heard of them? They've been all the rage for a couple of years now.
No.
2 or 3 years.
I don't pay attention to that kind of stuff, Ben.
You're not trying to lose weight?
Well, no.
I'm just kidding.
No, there's so many drugs out there. I mean,
I
you kind of lose track of it. What's it called? A GLP?
It's called a GLP-1 agonist, meaning it's a mimic. It imitates a hormone called GLP-1 or a peptide called GLP-1.
Okay.
And these drugs are used to lose weight, and movie stars and celebrities and average folks have been using them for a couple of years now, and you can lose a lot of weight on them. The problem is it's not just losing weight. You lose muscle and you lose connective tissue, and it really rags on your digestive system, and that's really the big problem. And there's actually there's a class action lawsuit going against one. I forget which one of the manufacturers of the GLP-1s. I think it's Novo Nordisk, and apparently people are having all kinds of problems with these things. And it's interesting because it goes to show you that we have this kind of mentality in our culture that we can drug ourselves back to health and wellness.
Yeah, not good, man.
You can't. You cannot. People, you're being hoodwinked if you think you can drug yourself back to health, that you can take a prescription medication and somehow be better off for it. It doesn't happen. Even if you can kind of, a lot of people lost a bunch of weight, so they're all, these medications became became celebrated, and up to 12% of American adults, from the last numbers I read, are on these GLP-1 drugs, and people are losing weight. But the problem is, and I don't know how to explain this, Dave. Maybe you can help me.
Okay.
When you take a drug, you may reduce or eliminate or improve a symptom, like your blood pressure or weight loss or your weight, but there's a price to be paid for it. And it's hard to explain that because people say, well, my blood pressure dropped when I took the drug. I lost weight when I took the drug. But we don't realize that the body has to process that thing like it's a poison. And when you lose weight, for example, to use the GLP-1 case as an example, when you lose weight, you're not losing weight like you lose weight when you go to the gym or when you cut your calories. You lose weight by changing the way your body perceives food and satiety. They're poisoning biochemistry. And that's why what we're talking about here on this program and what longevity talks about is so important. You can accomplish the same thing, albeit slower and in a more controlled fashion, with nutrition. Because at the end of the day, that's what's missing, is nutrition, not drugs.
Or your butt, if you're that woman. I mean, her butt's missing now, Ben.
Well, she was exaggerating, but she did have a colon perforation.
Dang.
And that's, can you imagine what that's like?
No way.
Colon perforation? You know, there's 4,400 plaintiffs who filed lawsuits since 2023 against the two major companies selling these drugs, Ozempic and Wegovy. And you have to be living under a rock, David, to not have heard this.
I've heard of Ozempic. I didn't know it was a GLP-1 agonist.
Yes, it's a GLP-1 agonist.
Okay.
And these drugs, the mechanism of action of these GLP-1 drugs is to affect the way the body processes food and how we interpret hunger and satiety. You know, when we're hungry, we're not hungry from the stomach. We're hungry from the brain. And when we're satisfied, we're not satisfied from the stomach, we're satisfied from the brain. Now, there are connections from the digestive system to the brain, but GLP-1, which stands for glucagon-like peptide 1, is a hormone that your body makes after you eat. So you'll eat a food, GLP-1 is secreted, and it tells your body you're satisfied. So the thinking is, if you take GLP-1s without eating, like a drug, GLP-1, your brain will say, oh, I'm full, I'm satisfied. The problem is, the only way this can happen is by tricking the brain. The medication, the GLP-1 drug, tricks the brain, the part of the brain that controls the appetite, by telling the brain you're satisfied and you're full, even if you haven't eaten anything. And this is why people start to deal, who are on these drugs long term, deal with something called, you may have heard this, Ozempic face or Ozempic butt. Have you heard this? Ozempic face?
I think I have heard of that. Yes,
yeah.
Ben, Ozempic.
Yeah, I've been
face.
talking about it for a while. That's where your
Right.
face sags and your butt sags, your body sags, because you're not making connective tissue.
Dang.
Because you're not getting nutrition. What's worse is now the stomach problems and the gastrointestinal problems. One of the other effects of the GLP-1s is it slows down the release of food from the stomach, the speed at which food leaves the stomach. So the food sits in your stomach longer, and supposedly you feel physically full for a longer part of the day. The problem is that when you slow down the movement of food in the stomach, you can't just target the stomach. You slow down the movement of food in the entire digestive tract from the stomach to the colon, and that means that the body is going to suck up too much water from the food, and this is where problems like constipation and these the GI rupture problem that this gal had come from. In other words, the too much water is being sucked out of the food. And by the way, your digestive system has its own nervous system. You know, they call the digestive system the second brain. And when you stick a bunch of hormone into the digestive system, it can cause a change in how, in the relationship between muscular contractions in the intestine and food, and that's what causes nausea and cramping. Not to mention changes in in relationship between the bacteria in the gut and food, and that's where bloating and gas come from. So, listen, you can't take a drug and be better off for it. Do you need drugs? Sometimes, yes. And I'm on record as saying pain pills are very important for sure, and antibiotics obviously have an upside, although they have a downside too. But for the most part, any chronic drug you're taking can be replaced by a nutritional protocol, not a single nutritional supplement, but a nutritional and dietary protocol, although the effect will be much slower and controlled, which is a good thing. And that's how you want to work with the body. You don't want to just jack up the chemistry with a prescription drug. There's always going to be a price to be paid. Not to mention the fact, and nobody ever talks about this, Dave, when you take a prescription drug, your body has to clear that prescription drug out using nutrients, vitamin C, and vitamin E, and magnesium, and copper, and selenium, and various peptides, glutathione, etc. All of these nutrients are used by the body to detoxify. And that means you're going to be running low on vitamin C and vitamin E and copper and magnesium and all the nutrients that you're now expending to detoxify the drug. It's a horrible business. And what's worse is they don't care about people. There's no people. There's no human advocacy or patient advocacy with drugs and with drug companies. Their goal is not your health. Do you think a drug company cares about your health, Dave, or the health of your parents, or the health of your kids, or the health of your friends?
They don't want you to die. They want you to spend money with them.
Yeah, they don't want to kill you necessarily, but they don't care about your health, your overall health. It's terrible. You know, I was listening to I forgot who it was. Some politician talking to the CEO of CVS. Do you know Aetna? CVS, the drugstore chain.
Yes.
They own Aetna, the insurance company. And they own a generic drug manufacturer called, I think, Corvallis. there's these vertical integrations between drug companies and drug stores and insurance companies and HMOs, and they're all owned by the same people. So you go to the doctor, who doesn't work for you, he works for the HMO. The HMO is owned by some asset management or hedge fund or whatever these companies are that own all the big businesses. And you go to the doctor, he writes a prescription, you go to CVS, which is owned by the same company. The insurance company, Aetna, pays for the prescription, which is owned by the same company. And the drug is made by a manufacturing facility, which is owned by the same company. Do you see a scam here? It's terrible. And human beings get sicker and sicker. Americans get sicker and sicker. You know, we have almost $5 trillion. I think it's $4.5 or $4.6 trillion in healthcare costs every year. Where's that money going? Are we getting healthier?
No.
Are we healthier?
No, I don't think so, Ben.
No.
831-479-1080 is the phone number. 218-5726 is the text line. kscodave@gmail.com is the email address. Ben, it looks like we have a special guest joining us here.
Who's that?
I don't know if I should say his name, but his initials are MZ.
Okay, great. I love MZ.
Yeah, hi, Ben and Dave. So listen, Ben, I take Mounjaro. Is that a GLP-1?
I don't believe it's a GLP-1. You mean for your diabetes?
Yeah.
No, Mounjaro is a you know what? Mounjaro is a GLP-1. You're right. Mounjaro is a GLP-1.
Okay.
Yes. Are you noticing any GI
you've been
problems?
saying,
Yes.
no, not at all. Not at all. I love it. I don't like drugs as.
Did you lose a lot of weight?
A ton of weight. I've lost like over 30 pounds.
So are you taking the longevity GLP-1 supplement with it?
No.
You should.
Okay, I
Take
will.
it with it. Yeah, take it with it. And, just be aware that the biggest problem people have with, there's other problems too. There's pancreatic issues that you can end up with. And I know you have diabetes, and that's probably one of the reasons why that's probably the reason you're taking the GLP-1.
That's the only reason.
That's the only reason. But there are definitely intestinal issues that a lot of people deal with. Not everybody, but you are messing
I guess I'm lucky.
Maybe for now, though. How long have you been taking it?
I don't know, 7 or 8 months, something like that.
Okay, well, you may be for now, but as soon as you get off it, I would get off of it. Read up on the GLP-1 weight loss class action lawsuits.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here
some of the injuries are life-threatening.
I wanted to say this. I wanted to get this out.
Yes.
I don't normally embrace prescription drugs at all, but this has been magic to me. It's dropped my A1C down to almost normal, and it may be better than normal when I next have it, because it's been a couple months since I last had it checked, and so everything is good. I even have a doctor, a specialist, not for diabetes but for something else, who is on it himself, and he swears by it. Well, so I don't know. It's almost too good to be true. Like,
it is almost too good to be true.
Find something terrible,
Well, according to
cancer or something down the line.
And that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing. There's always going to be a price to be paid with a prescription drug. Now, according to Novo Nordisk, which is one of the biggest drug manufacturers in the world, according to their attorney, 75% of the lawsuits involve gastroparesis or stomach paralysis. I'm reading off the internet here. 18% of the cases allege something called ileus, which is a condition where the bowel muscles don't push food out and the waste sits in your intestine. 18% allege intestinal obstructions. 8% say they have gallbladder injuries. Another 8% allege serious gastrointestinal complications, including vomiting and acid reflux, etc. So one of the things that happens with GLP-1s is because they slow down the release of food or the movement of food through the intestine, toxicity can accumulate. And that's to me, that's the biggest problem. So if you're not noticing any GI problems, any gastrointestinal problems, one of two things is true. They're not there, that's possible, or you're not noticing, that's also possible.
Well,
by the way, blindness is also...
The wonderful thing is when I eat, I enjoy eating. I love to eat.
Do you eat less?
But considerably less.
Yeah,
amazingly less, because I just don't feel like it.
Yes.
But I don't feel like I'm starving either.
Because it's slowing down the movement of food, so the food is sitting in your stomach longer. One of the big problems, I think maybe the biggest problem associated with these things, is sudden blindness and eye problems, vision changes. And that's the biggest issue. And that happens suddenly.
That's happening. In fact, I'm at the age where I'm having cataract surgery the day after tomorrow.
Well, you don't know. You don't know what the problem is. And cataracts and diabetes kind of go hand in hand there. And here's the biggest problem, though. And I know your A1C, your hemoglobin A1C went down, but how do you know that you're not dealing with issues with insulin? Hemoglobin A1C involves blood sugar, but how do you know you're not dealing with insulin problems? You don't know, really. And they can't test for that. Using what's called deductive reasoning, where you start off with a principle and then you deduce facts from that principle. Anytime you take a drug, you're going to run into a problem. Deductive reasoning says prescription drugs, pharmaceuticals will say, manipulate biochemistry artificially. The body is a system, a biochemical system, whose chemistry depends on the environment: food, oxygen, psychological or mental issues. What you're doing is you're overriding all of that. And so via deductive reasoning, if you start playing around with your biochemistry, you got to run into some kind of problem somewhere. You see what I'm saying, MC? You can't not have a problem eventually. Or maybe you're not noticing a problem. Just using logic.
But Ben, tell me what to do so I can.
I told you for years what to do. You know what to do.
Yeah.
You know.
And every time I love you, but every time I talk to you, I get more confused.
You just don't eat. No, I'm just kidding. That's not right. But you control your eating behavior. See, we eat for taste. Do lions eat for taste? Do lions say, that tastes really delicious, I think I'm going to have some? No, wild animals don't eat for taste. Only domesticated animals eat for taste. Yeah. Do lions eat because they're depressed, or they're sad, or they're anxious, or they have stress? No, only domesticated animals do that. Dogs, cats, and humans and such. So we're paying the price for eating for reasons that our body doesn't want. And I don't want to be Mr. Eat Your Vegetables guy. You do whatever you want, MC, and everybody listening to this program, do whatever you want. I'm only talking to people who are dealing with health challenges and not getting answers. You're getting cataract surgery, MC. Did they tell you that cataracts and blood sugar and dysglycemia go hand in hand? And diabetes?
Not at
people
all.
have cataracts
they
almost.
Didn't say that.
Of course not. So,
yeah.
My point is if you're
but
you
there,
or anybody
there are
else.
people a lot younger than I am who have had cataract surgery and swear by it. They say you are gonna not realize how much reduction in vision you've been.
Those are anecdotal stories, and that's great. My mom was blind in one eye after she had cataract surgery, so that can happen too.
Oi!
I know exactly.
I better cancel.
I'll tell you. I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you what to eat or what to take or what to cancel. That's not my point. My point is I'm talking to people who really want to be maximally healthy. You can take all the GLP-1 you want, have all the cataract surgery you want, MZ, and eat all the food you want. I'm not telling you what to do. But for people out there who want to be maximally healthy and have a maximum and optimize their longevity and have tons of energy and be resistant to colds and flus and viruses and whatever infectious materials floating around in the air, these strategies are for you. If you're happy with your drugs and your physician and whatever your surgical procedures are, have at it. Have at it. This is not a message. I'm not being mean. I'm not being rude here. This is not a message for for people like yourself. This is a message for people who want to be maximally 100% healthy. And for those people, there's no way a prescription drug is going to do it for you. Absolutely not. And I've been studying medicine for 40 years. Do you need medicine? Sometimes?
We need. I've been meaning to tell you, we need to change that intro that you. I'm Pharmacist Ben. I've been studying for 35 years.
Yeah,
I've been saying
5 years
that
have
for
gone
10
by.
years already. We need to change it.
I know, that's true. George sometimes reads 25 years on Coast to Coast. No, I'm old. I'm older than you were when I met you. A lot older.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening, though, MZ. And thank you for giving us the airtime here.
Damn good.
Thank you.
All right, so.
Thank you, MZ.
All right.
831-479-1080, 218-5726. I have a question here about parasites, but before we do that, Ben, I've got Joe in Santa Cruz who has a question for you.
Yes.
You're in the air, Joe.
Yeah, I got a couple of things. First, Pharmacist Fuchs. You got a website, you got a company. It's a skincare company, right?
Yes, I do skincare.
Is that what
That's
you call
my
it?
name. Yeah, it's called Truth Treatments, truthtreatments.com. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Do you sell deodorant? I haven't looked yet.
I don't sell deodorant.
Okay.
I only sell products for the skin, but yes, I do make deodorants in the pharmacy, non-toxic deodorants.
Okay. Can you recommend any that are on the
there's
market in regular stores?
Yeah, if you want to buy a regular one, buy Lumi, Lume, I think it is.
Just spell that again.
Yeah, Lumi, L as in Larry, U as in Uncle, M as in Mary, E as in Edward.
Okay, Lumi. Okay.
Lumi.
The other thing is, I get this. I don't know if it's inflammation or arthritis or whatever. The base of my left thumb. Every once in a while, if I move it the wrong way, it doesn't feel good. Whatever. And it was recommended that I eat more protein. So I started doing the protein.
Well, hang on.
Powder.
Somebody recommended protein for your inflammation in your thumb?
Well, yeah, because I thought it was arthritis, and it was recommended. Well, maybe it's just inflammation. Try eating more protein.
I don't know if that's
okay.
I'm not sure who told you that, but go ahead. What's your question?
Okay, what do you think then?
Well, any inflammation, that's a great question, actually. Inflammation is a defensive response.
Okay,
always.
I just want, how do I deal with it?
Let me explain. I want to walk you through this thing because I don't want to just tell you what to do. I want you to understand it. Inflammation is a defensive response anywhere. The inflammation you're talking about is micro inflammation, small inflammation, as opposed to macro. Black eye, for example, that's macro inflammation. The micro inflammation that you're experiencing is the end result of something getting into your body that shouldn't be in your body. Usually that means food, and it's very common. Now, it can be also compounded by degeneration, deterioration of tissue, which is also very common. So what I'd be doing is two things. Number one, the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack, or if you just want to do one product, the glucogel caps, but really the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack is probably the way to go. And then number two, I would be looking, you don't need a full-blown food diary for just the inflammation in the thumb, but kind of focus on foods that are causing digestive distress. Because once toxicity gets into the bloodstream, those toxins oftentimes are dumped into the cartilage and into the joints. And that can lead to inflammation and degeneration as well. So first thing, I would do the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack. And if you don't want to do the whole Healthy Bone and Joint Pack, at least the glucogel caps. And Dave can tell you, and I can tell you, they're like a miracle for inflammatory conditions like the one you're describing. And then number two, I'd be working on digestive health. Now, one of the bonuses of working with the glucogel caps and the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack is you're going to strengthen your digestive system too. And that's one of the beautiful things about nutrition versus drugs is you get these multiple benefits. And that's true about the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack. So A, Healthy Bone and Joint Pack, or just glucogel caps. B, work on digestive health by eliminating problem foods and then using any of the digestive support strategies that we have at Youngevity. And if you want a couple foods, if you want to just do foods or you want to add foods, bone soup or bone broth or chicken broth is awesome for inflammation in the joints, whether it's full-blown arthritis or any inflammatory condition. The connective tissue building substances in chicken soup and bone soup can go a long way towards reducing inflammation and helping you rebuild connective tissue and cartilage.
Okay, I take the Tangerine and
one.
Dr. Wallach. I try to follow Dr. Wallach's diet. I've cut out oils.
That's great.
No more effing cookies and freaking potato chips and all that crap that I was raised on.
That's great.
Okay.
That's great.
But,
are you feeling better?
Do
you notice anything?
No, I don't notice anything. But whatever. The gel caps, is that the fish oil?
No.
Fish oil?
No. Fish oil might help you, though. Fish oil is another good thing you could do, and that's part of the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack. But no, this is different. This is cartilage building raw material, the glucogel caps. And you might also want to try glucogel caps. And Dave, do you have collagen peptides over there, Dave?
I don't, Ben. No.
Collagen peptides might help you. And you know what else, Joe? If you want just something just quick, go get organic gelatin powder from the grocery store, and that'll help too. Organic gelatin powder.
Organic gelatin powder.
Yeah, like Jell-O, like Knox Jell. Knox. No, I don't know if Knox is organic. It doesn't absolutely have to be organic, but organic is better.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you for the call, Joe. 831-47.
By the way, that's a great hack for anybody who's got inflammatory joint problem. Is Knox gelatin, unflavored gelatin, or organic gelatin if you can find it.
Oh, okay. Good. All right, Ben, I tell you what, let's take a quick break, and then when we get back, we'll talk about parasites. How does that sound?
Okay.
All right.
Good.
The Mineral Way. You're listening to The Mineral Way with pharmacist Ben Fuchs and Dave Michaels. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the annual Feline Fanciers Championship, where elegance meets excellence.
Do be careful, old chap. One must conserve one's energy for judging. Poise is everything.
Energy? I've got plenty. You want to chase the laser pointer later?
Absolutely not. I've already won 3 ribbons simply by standing.
Blue ribbons hang nearby as Sir Reginald Purrington and Zippy face the judges.
I used to feel stiff too. Then my humans started sprinkling Arthrodex on my food. It tastes like beef and smells great. I think it's the best.
Arthrodex helps support movement and flexibility so cats can stay playful and active. And the winner is Zippy.
Zippy, but he moved.
Feeling good beats looking fancy.
Help your cat feel their best with Arthrodex. Get your paws on it at themineralway.com. That's themineralway.com. Arthrodex. It's the cat's meow.
Look, I know you're not trying to overhaul your life. You just want to feel decent, have enough energy to get through your day, and not make a big deal out of it. You don't want another project, another plan, or something you have to think about all the time. You just want something that fits in and doesn't get in the way. That's why Beyond Tangy Tangerine makes sense. It's easy. You work it into your day and move on. It comes in several formulas, so you can just pick what feels right and not overthink it. You can keep the 1-pound canister at home or use the travel packs when you're out, whatever works for you. BTT supports energy without caffeine or drugs. No jitters, no crash. You just feel better during the day. It's not a big production. It's just one simple thing you do each day that can help you feel a little better, have a little more energy, and keep going without overthinking it. You can order it at themineralway.com. That's themineralway.com. Check it out today.
If someone should ask, tell them you heard it on AM 1080 KSCO.
831-479-1080-218-5726 KSCO Dave at gmail.com. Every Monday live at 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Pharmacist Ben Fuchs is here to answer your questions. 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Live every Monday. If it is not that hour, Ben, then you might be listening to a replay. But as of right now, we are live on the air, and we are going to talk about parasites. I got a text here, says, can you ask Ben about parasites?
Well, in general or specifically? Because
I don't know.
Parasitic infections are really common, first of all.
Really?
Very common. But when people, like around the world, that is, like a quarter of the world's
How common
population,
are they is what it says.
Is that what the question is?
Yes.
They're very common. Around the world. Not as much here in the United States, but usually it involves tropical, subtropical areas where they don't have good sanitation. And usually they can be pretty severe. A lot of times, though, people, they attribute health challenges to just some generic kind of fuzzy diagnosis of parasites.
Okay.
Real parasitic infections like tapeworm, roundworm, giardia, toxoplasmosis. You know what that is? That's from cats.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Dang.
Yes, cats carry cat feces, actually. Cats carry toxoplasmosis. There are some sexually transmitted parasites. And around the world, they are definitely a big problem. Malaria, I think, is considered to be a parasitic infection. So they can be pretty severe. But the problem with it's kind of like a thing where people say, oh, I have parasites, and they blame their skin problems on parasites, or they blame their autoimmune disease on parasites. I'm not so convinced about those, but that being said, yes, parasitic infections can be they can be very serious, and they are around the world very common.
Okay, well, what can we do about them, Ben? I mean, I'm sure that's what he's asking.
One thing you could do is you can clean out your bowels. You make sure that you're having regular bowel movements. You're not constipated. That's one thing you can do. Secondly, there are substances in foods that can help with parasitic infections, particularly cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts. Those are the kind of it's interesting because these cruciferous vegetables that protect the liver, really important for liver health, and toxoplasmosis in particular, and giardia can really burden the liver. They're the veggies nobody likes. Remember George Bush and broccoli?
Yeah, right.
Nobody likes the cruciferous vegetables, and they're really, really helpful. Also, the cruciferous vegetables, and also in addition to the cruciferous vegetables, onions and garlic and shallots, they have detoxification elements that can help clear out, protect the liver, and also parasites can interfere with hormonal balance, and so these cruciferous vegetables can help with hormonal balance as well. Zinc can be very helpful. And then also something called N-acetylcysteine, which we talk about. That's kind of like a master cleanser. And then also detoxification strategies, like something called glucaric acid, Glucaric. Glucaric acid is found in oranges and apples. That can help. And then also plain old vitamin C is really important for liver health and detoxification. And then probably, if you want to go the killing route, you might want to consider colloidal silver, but it's really hard to kill parasites with parasites with non-pharmaceutical strategies. But I would be working on improving detoxification. That would be my strategy.
All right, Ben, sounds good. 479-1080. Craig and Campbell has a question for you, Ben.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Dave, and hello, Benjamin Fuchs. Hey, I had a yellow lab dog, by the way. That she lived to 15, so she lived a long time. But they loved the water, these labs, and I walked her all the time by the water, the creek, and doesn't matter, she would jump in that water no matter what, how cold. And she got giardia, right? I mean, when she was young, and I took her to my holistic pet vet, who was actually Gray. He was one of the pioneers in he was a real holistic pet. He wasn't like people say they're holistic today. This guy was the real deal. He's gone. He was a World War II veteran, but he made his own home remedies. He had a chemistry lab back there. He was something else, this guy. But what he told me to do after that, and this worked like a charm, just crush up a little fresh garlic in the dog's food if they have giardia.
Yeah.
When she jump in that water, she would drink it. As she was swimming, you could see her drinking the water. And sure, every time she gets giardia, but then I caught on. I put the fresh garlic in there, and it worked, and it got rid of it. I'm not kidding you. I mean, Dr. Wallach, he knew animals. He must know that too. He must know a lot of good tricks like that.
I don't know how you would get rid of a parasitic infection that way.
It did with the animals, Ben. I'm really telling you the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I swear to God.
Okay, all right. Well, I know garlic is
I don't
medicinal.
know about humans. Okay,
yeah, I think it would work for humans too. I know garlic's medicinal, and onions are medicinal, but it seems like pretty weak medicine. Parasites are living things that have been evolutionary selected for to survive, not to die, and they feed on us. So just to kill a parasite is really a difficult thing to do. That's why I say the strategy I would use is to protect the liver and help the body clear things out. But there are people who have parasitic infections for life, and they don't go away.
Yeah, well, this is my holistic pet vet. He started this in 1960, and like I say, he was a great pioneer. He would treat animals with cancer. He was in contact with those clinics on the border, those cancer clinics, and he just really did he was, like I said, he had a lab. He made his own homeopathic remedies. I mean, my gosh, he even had rattlesnake serum if your dog got bit by her. Which my dog, you'll never believe this story, but she once came up to this great big coiled up rattlesnake. I'm going crazy trying to yell he calmly walks up and actually touches the thing. You know, I couldn't believe that it didn't strike back, but the Rangers told me, you know, that big. I described how huge this thing was. I never realized I got that big. He said, oh, that time of year it was probably a pregnant rattlesnake, you know, and they explained if it was a young rattlesnake, they don't control their venom, it would have really unleashed. But man, this thing was coiled, and she touched it. She smelled like a dog smelling a flower you're walking them, and then she just calmly walked away like nothing happened. But the one of the most incredible things about it all, I never ran across a rattlesnake, but this rattlesnake was really ticked off. I mean, it had to have been, because the sound, by the way, nobody would believe this unless I had it on YouTube. It gets 10 million hits, but the sound was like being in this is outdoors, and the sound was like being in a 3D movie theater, really loud. I don't even know how that rattlesnake could be that loud out in the open. It was just it was like being in a 50,000 crowd stadium, and they cheered. You know, you hear that sound all around.
They are scary sounding. Thank you for the call, Craig.
Hey, Dave, I want to point something out here.
Yes,
I want to point something out here. We're talking here about chronic degenerative disease.
Uh-huh.
We're not talking about infections. You get infected. The longevity products and nutritional strategies, they're to keep your body intact longer for 120 years, ideally, so you don't degenerate. Because we degenerate way too early. Our bodies fall apart way too early. Parasitic infections, you're going to end up dealing with a drug, an anti-parasitic kind of drug. And there are some drugs that do that. There's no real nutritional strategy to get rid of parasites. So you're really stuck with a drug strategy if you're going to do it. If you really want to do it that way, you can use herbs, but they're not going to. Wormwood. Have you ever heard of wormwood?
No.
Artemisia. That's a well-known. At least historically, they use that to kill worms. That's hence the name wormwood, to kill worms or parasites. Black walnut. You probably heard of black walnut. Most people have heard of that for killing things. But really, these are different from chronic degenerative conditions that are metabolic, where your biochemistry is tweaked by something you're eating or some kind of lifestyle strategy, and that's kind of what we're talking about. And it's much harder to address parasitic infections or viral infections or bacterial infections with a nutritional strategy. Although supporting the immune system is always a good idea, and that's why I gave you those kind of liver strategies. But for parasites, that's a little bit different than a metabolic or degenerative condition.
Here is a question for you, Ben. I don't know if I can make. I don't know if it was written incorrectly or this is just a weird word. But here we go. Hi, can you ask pharmacist Ben if he's heard of the peptide retatrutide?
Spell it.
Retatrutide. I'm sure it's not spelled properly. And its effectiveness for liver and kidney regeneration. Also, is it okay to take tangy tangerine and rebound on the same day?
Heck yeah, it's definitely okay to do that. Okay. Yeah, the peptide he's talking about I have heard of it. They use it for diabetes and obesity. What was he saying for the liver? Is what he was saying?
Yeah, liver and kidney regeneration.
It's along. It's involved with. It's similar to a GLP-1 agonist. It has some other benefits or some other effects. Retatrutide, and that's going to be a new one that's coming out. You're going to hear.
Yeah, that's it. Retatrutide. Yeah.
Retatrutide, and it's still experimental at this point, but it's going to be along the same lines as the GLP-1 drugs and GLP-1 agonists, and you know, MZ came on and he has a very good point. If you're noticing you're losing weight, and you notice that your diabetic markers are improving, by all means do it. But it seems to me crazy that you would take a prescription drug that the body interprets as a poison or as something that it has to get rid of and somehow think that you're going to be better off more. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But if you notice benefits, like MZ was saying, he lost a bunch of weight, he's eating less food, and his diabetic markers were improving, go for it.
831-479-1080, 218-5726. We have a call from Watsonville. This is Zach. You're in the air, Zach.
What's up, Zach?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Hey, real quick question. What about for parasites? What if you were to make a little solution of diatomaceous earth and water?
Yeah, diatomaceous earth is pretty incredible stuff, actually. You get really constipated and clogged up probably from the diatomaceous earth. It might pull out the parasites, I imagine. Bentonite clay, that kind of thing. I know diatomaceous earth can be used like outside the body for termites and ants and that kind of thing. It might work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it might work. Diatomaceous earth is really interesting stuff. But it's a clay, and it may clog you up a little bit. I don't know. I don't have a lot of experience with diatomaceous earth used internally, although I use it sometimes as a insect repellent in my home. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I use on my chickens. It's the only thing that works. And then
what do you use it for your chickens?
Well, they chickens, at least in this part of the state, in the Central Coast, they get mites. So if you don't use food grade diatomaceous earth is what I use.
Okay.
And I have a little puffer, a little sprayer puffer thing, and I puff it around the chickens, around their little opening, their cloaca, and their nesting pads and all that stuff. And it keeps the mites completely away, like cuts them up, because it's like microscopic.
There's a lot of people who say that diatomaceous earth can clean you out and act as a little broom. If you take too much, it can cause some constipation. But yeah, it may sweep you out like a broom.
Okay, yeah, I was just curious. I looked it up and I saw that some people do it. And I was like, I'm going to ask the authority, Dr. Ben Fuchs.
Yeah, it might work. Parasites, like I say, they're evolutionary selected for to survive. So it's using mild strategies like diatomaceous earth to kind of clean the body out. It's kind of weak, but it wouldn't hurt you. Just if you take too much, you might get some constipation. That's the only thing.
Okay, interesting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for the phone call, Zach. 831-479-1080, 218-55726, kscodave@gmail.com. I have never talked so much about parasites in my life,
It's
Ben.
a thing. It's a thing.
Wow, dude.
The real parasitic infections are very nasty, like tapeworm. You ever seen a tapeworm? They're unbelievable. They're so disgusting.
Oh, they sound disgusting.
They are just roundworms. If you ever have an animal with that has them, they come out in the stool and they like wiggle around. I had a dog that had a really bad tapeworm infection, and it was so hideous. Every time he went to the bathroom, you could see in his stool there would be these little it's really wiggling around worms, long white worms. It was
Jeez, Ben. Did you get rid of the dog, or did you get rid of the worms?
The dog died. The dog ended up dying.
No way.
Yeah, the dog died.
How could you tell a story like that?
Well, I wasn't. You asked me about it. I was going to say that part, but yeah, the dog died.
Oh no, Ben.
I know.
Well,
what you could do?
Our texter wanted to know is that retatrutide is that safe?
Well, it's still experimental, and hasn't been approved yet. It's just another drug. Yeah, it's probably going to be safe, but, Lilly's making it, so they're spending a lot of money, and they're doing trials. It depends what you mean by safe. Is it going to kill you if you just take it? Probably not. But is it going to help you in the long run? Is it going to have effects on you in the long run? Nobody really knows. It's like the GLP-1 agonist, MZ's saying it's great, but there's class actions lawsuits that say it's not. So it's just you don't know. It's Russian roulette. You're playing with fire. You have no way of knowing. There are people who take polypharmacy, take multiple drugs, and they live to be 80, 90 years old. And, who's to say that they're not better off? On the other hand, who's to say that they wouldn't have lived another 10 years or 15 years if they took care of themselves? And that's really, to me, that's what this is about. And see what you think, Dave. Tell me if you agree with this.
Okay. All right.
The question is not do the drugs work. The question is why are we not taking care of our lives and living correctly so that we have to take the drugs? And I don't want to pick on MZ and use him as an example, but why isn't he just eating correctly? That's all. Eating less food. What makes the drug necessary? I'm not picking on MZ by any means, but he called. So just why would it be that we wouldn't just eat correctly? Do we need French fries that badly?
No.
Right? That's the way I look at it. And so, yeah, maybe you can eat your French fries and have GLP-1 agonist and not even have no toxicity or side effects and not even notice it. But the reason we need the GLP-1 agonist is because we can't control our behaviors, our eating behaviors. And I'm not judging anybody because I have my own problems with food, so I'm not judging anybody. I'm just saying that is the correct question to ask. Not, can I lose weight with the drugs? But why do I need the drugs to lose weight? That's the question.
So next time I see somebody eating fries, I should go and slap it out of their hands?
Do not ever do that. That never goes well. Never, ever tell anybody about what they're eating or rag on anybody about what they're eating while they're eating it.
Right.
Never. That does not go well. And I hate even talking about it. But food is so important because you have to eat, obviously.
Yeah, right.
But our food supply has been so corrupted over the last 100 years, or even over the last 200 or 300 years. It's been so corrupted ever since we figured out how to process foods. And so we're all ingesting foods that didn't exist a mere 100, 150 years ago, which from an evolutionary perspective was like a 1 minute to midnight or 1 minute to 12. If all of evolution is on a 24-hour clock, 1 minute to 12, we change the food supply. So, of course, there's going to be problems. So what I say is eat less, live longer, and supplement. The Cron diet. Calorie restriction, optimum nutrition. Is this message for everybody? No, it's not for everybody. This is only a message for people who want to be maximally healthy. And there are a lot of people who do that. If you don't want to be maximally healthy, you want to do drugs, go ahead and do them. Or if you want to mitigate some of the toxicity associated with the medication you're taking, use your Mighty 90 essential nutrients to protect your liver and to protect your intestine and to protect your cardiovascular system and to detoxify and to replace the nutrients that are lost by the body cleaning itself out. So for people who are on GLP-1s, Longevity's got a great GLP-1 support pack that will help you reduce your dose of GLP-1, number one, and reduce the likelihood of any toxicity or side effects or adverse reactions associated with your drug. So take precautions.
831-479-1080. Let's see what Tim has to say. He's calling from Santa Cruz. You're in the air, Tim.
Hi, Tim.
Hey, Ben. Quick question. I have two. The first is absorption. When I take the Mighty 90 or the Tangy Tangerine, whatever you call it, sometimes it's the urine is really pronounced. Is that because there's too much absorption?
What do you mean really? What does that mean, really pronounced?
Like bright.
Oh, the color.
Yellowy green.
Yeah. No, that means you're just eliminating riboflavin, which is vitamin B2. So your body uses what it needs, and then you excrete the rest. It's basically an insurance policy. It's better to take more than to take less, in my opinion. It's better to saturate your body with nutrients. It's kind of like if you have a door that you're trying to get into, and you push against the door. Say the door's locked, and you got to get into the door. So you push against the door to try to break the door down. You might not be able to do it, but if you have 20 people behind you pushing the door, it's going to be much easier to break the door down. So in other words, by piling up excess nutrition in your body, you sort of force nutrients into the cells. You push the nutrients into the cells. That does require a higher dose, and then what your body doesn't use, you excrete. So it's just basically like an insurance policy, the way I look at it. And the yellow is riboflavin. Riboflavin actually means yellow body. Flavin is yellow in Latin.
And the other question, I've heard you talk about the sludgy blood and that. I'm on a blood thinner right now.
Yeah.
Does that make up for any of the...
Well, the reason you're on a blood thinner is because you've got sludgy blood. I call it sludgy blood. That's my graphic term for it. But really it's hypercoagulable blood, meaning it's blood that is prone to clot. So you're on a blood thinner because you don't want to clot it. But the reason blood clots, or not the reason, one of the reasons why blood clots is because of toxicity that's getting into the bloodstream through the digestive tract. Now, there are a lot of reasons. If your heart's not working correctly, it might clot. If you're dehydrated or you have inflammation, you're not getting enough oxygen, it may clot. So there's a lot of reasons why it clot. But one of the main reasons, and the first thing I think about, is leaky gut. So if you have a history of digestive issues, work on the digestive health. Blood thinners are nasty drugs, and I'll tell you why. The newer ones are a little bit better. The old ones they used them literally for rat poison. Coumadin and warfarin were rat poison, and they're used as rat poison because when the body wants to clot the blood, it needs to clot the blood. Blood clotting is tightly controlled. And think about it. If you get cut, your blood has to clot. Otherwise, you're going to bleed all over the African savanna from an evolutionary standpoint. So clotting is tightly regulated, and you don't want it to clot too much because then the blood won't circulate. So the body controls the clotting process with extremely, extremely complicated biochemistry. Probably the most complicated biochemistry in the body is the blood clotting biochemistry. So in order to override that, you need to have some serious pharmacology. And that's why blood clotting medication is so problematic. On the other hand, if you're prone to clotting, you have an issue that can kill you. So you got to decide, why am I clotting? Can I do something? Not you, but a person has to decide, whoever's on it, why am I clotting? And are there reasons for the clotting? Are there reasons why my blood is clotting that I can control? And that's really the answer to it. Why is my blood clotting, and what can I do about it from a natural or lifestyle standpoint? And that's the way I look at it. If you go to a doctor, immediately you're going to get put on a drug, and I'm not judging them for that. That's what they do. That's their job, is to put you on medication and to take care of the problem, and understandably so, because blood clotting is a serious problem. You can die from a blood clot. You get a stroke from a blood clot. I mean, it's a serious issue. The real question is, why is your blood clotting, or why is it clotting inappropriately?
Yeah, it was a diagnosis of AFib at the time.
Well,
and I think they just...
that's a big reason. That means your heart's not working correctly. And then the question is, why isn't your heart working correctly? And again, I'm not judging you. I'm not trying to be mean here, but that's the question asked. Why do I have AFib? So AFib is an oxygenation issue partially. It's a connective tissue issue partially. It's a blood sugar issue partially. And so these are the areas to work. Now, if you get on a drug to thin the blood, right, you're not going to clot, and that's good, but you haven't controlled the blood sugar. You haven't controlled the oxygen problem. You haven't controlled the connective tissue issue. You haven't really worked on the problem. You've just changed the sign of the problem, the symptom of the problem. And that's my beef with the medication, is we're not really changing the problem, we're changing the sign of the problem. And we're encouraged to do that by companies that are making a boatload of money. And that is not fair. What we want to do is figure out why we have the problem so we can correct it, in my opinion. Now, if you don't believe that, then don't do it. But I'm talking to people who want to really correct the problem, because that's what's going to extend your life. And that's what's going to reduce your risk of cancer. And that's what's going to reduce your risk of further degenerative conditions. Just taking the prescription drug is not going to do that.
Right.
You haven't corrected the AFib, right? Have you?
It seems to, between the beta blocker and the blood.
Okay. So what is the beta blocker doing? How's that working? It's shutting down the heart. It shuts down the heart.
Or slows
Listen,
down.
Just logic says, is it a smart idea to shut down your heart?
Probably not, Ben.
Probably not.
We're almost out of time, Ben.
Right.
So thank you for the call, Tim.
Do it.
Thank you for the call, 831-479-1080. And again, you can catch us live at 5 Pacific time.
Yes.
Every Monday. Pharmacist Ben Fuchs
and we have a surprise coming up for folks.
Have we got a surprise?
Big surprise coming up.
Have we got a surprise?
Yes.
We do?
We have a big surprise.
I can't wait.
You're going to tell me on Wednesday.
I'll call you and tell you know what's up with that.
All right.
All right, you're listening to The Mineral Way.
Buster, is that you? You're moving like a pup on espresso. What gives?
Thanks. Just keeping up with my routine. Some light jogs, a few unauthorized trash inspections, and started taking Arthrodex.
Arthrodex? Is that one of those new chew toys with Bluetooth?
Nah, it's a supplement from Longevity. It's loaded with vitamins, minerals, amino acids, even stuff to keep my joints moving like they used to.
So, it's like a multivitamin, but it actually tastes good?
Exactly. My coat's shinier, I'm springier than ever, and the stairs don't mock me anymore.
Man, I've been getting winded halfway through Squirrel Patrol.
Tell your human to go to themineralway.com. That's where mine gets it. Easy peasy.
Done. I'm one biscuit away from entering the Zoomy Olympics.
Give your pets the nutritional support they deserve with Arthrodex from Longevity, because staying active, happy, and healthy never goes out of style. Available now at themineralway.com.
Hey there, Garden Gnome here. I've been standing in this yard for years, and I gotta tell you, this season's different. Bigger tomatoes, juicier veggies, happier flowers, and I've seen what the human's been using, Bloomin' Minerals. Now this stuff isn't fertilizer. It's a natural soil revitalizer, putting plant-derived minerals and organic matter back into tired soil. I've watched them mix the granules right into the soil and spray the liquid version on top. Simple stuff, and the crops? Tastier, more nutritious, just better. Oh look, here comes the cat, and he's digging in the garden. Uh-oh, I bet he's gonna take a... catnip. He's planting catnip. Even Mr. Whiskers knows good soil when he sees it. If you want your garden doing better than ever, head to themineralway.com. That's themineralway.com. 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 Bloomin' Minerals. Even we gnomes approve. Themineralway.com.